Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another Friday Findings video at keepsakecrafts.net. Today I'm going to talk to you about another important aspect of working with polymer clay, and that is conditioning. So what is conditioning? Well, when we have polymer clay, we need to make it workable. That's one thing, and so we need to mix it up. So conditioning clay at its most basic is just working it in your hands so that it becomes pliant and workable and you can make it do what you want. But that really is just softening polymer clay, and I'm talking about conditioning it. And conditioning is something a little bit different. Here are a couple of different brands of polymer clay, and all of them, whatever the brand, are made up of resins and plasticizers, colorants and fillers, and they all need to be mixed together thoroughly so that when you bake it, the whole thing holds together as a cohesive whole. If you don't condition your clay properly, it's going to be brittle and break easily. Think of it this way. Here are the ingredients for a delicious chocolate cake. They're all in a bowl, ready to be mixed up. But let's say you just took your wooden spoon and gave this mix, maybe 5 stirs. And that was it. You just stirred it a few times. And then you poured it into your pans just like that, put it in the oven, and baked it. Would your cake hold together? I think not. It would be a crumbly mess because you didn't mix thoroughly throughout the mixture the ingredients that help hold things together, like the wet ingredients and the eggs and such. And clay is similar to that in a way. Although you can't see all the ingredients in our packages of clay here, they're in there and they need to be mixed thoroughly. Now, some clays, like this brand is Sculpey Souffle. I really love the feel of this, and one thing I like about Sculpey Souffle is that right out of the package, it's beautiful, soft, pliant, easy to work, a couple squishes, and you can create things with this. You can see how stretchy and nice it is. This is an old package of Fimo. This has been in my collection for probably a decade, and you can see this is very different than the souffle. It's crumbly, it's hard, it's crumbling to bits. It's going to take quite a bit of work to get this to a stage where you can work with it and sculpt and create things with it. However, I will tell you that regardless of their consistency coming out of the package, both clays need to be conditioned thoroughly. So let's take this Sculpey Souffle Cowboy, and I'll show you a couple ways that you can condition it. My favorite way of conditioning is just to use a pasta machine, and I'll show you that in a minute. If you don't have a pasta machine, you can still condition your clay. One way is just to use your hands and mold it and squish it and pull it and fold it, and you're probably going to need to spend about 5 minutes. And if you want to know exactly how much time it takes you to condition a piece of clay, take equal parts of a couple different colors, mix them together until they are thoroughly mixed, and that is how much time you also need to spend conditioning. The good news is that if you need to mix colors, you don't have to condition them separately first. You can mix them together and then they'll both be conditioned. And without a pasta machine, you can just use a roller, roll it flat, fold it on itself. Now there's a fold here and we don't want to incorporate air, so always roll from the fold out, and you can keep doing this. And this really is the same procedure that I follow with my pasta machine. And you can feel that the clay is getting softer. Even though it was pretty soft coming out of the package, you could see it's very stretchy and pliant. So here's that crumbly pink clay that I had a minute ago. I have my pasta machine set on the thickest setting, which is a number 1. And I rolled over that just a little bit with my acrylic roller, just so that it would pass through the pasta machine without too much trouble. You can see here it's still pretty crumbly. So I'm going to double it on itself and roll it through again. Fold. Of course, at this point you can see how crumbly the edges are because when you fold it, it breaks. That's another good sign that your piece is getting conditioned when it stops breaking and starts actually folding on that edge. And so we'll just keep doing this. If you've benefited from these videos, consider becoming a patron. You can support my channel for $1 a month or whatever you can afford. Check out my Patreon page for details. Oh, and now after about 10 passes, it's just starting to fold with a little bit of cracking. And now I have a nice fold, but it's still pretty crumbly on the edges. So I hope you liked this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe if you want to see more. I upload new tutorials on Tuesdays and Fridays. And now you can see it's a lot less crumbly. It's still kind of rough edges. And now I actually have a smooth edge over here. And that was about 25 passes. And now I have a nice, pliable piece of polymer clay. Now here's a good visual cue to know that your clay is getting close to being conditioned. Here's some clay that I pulled out of the package, and this is a piece from the edges after a few passes through the pasta machine. And you can see these edges are crumbly still. And so I know that this piece of clay is not conditioned. And then here the clay's gone through, I think, about 10 times, and it's getting there. It's still kind of crumbly. So it really does need to be conditioned some more. And then here is an end piece after it had gone through the pasta machine 25 times. And there's no crumbly edges. Now some clays will still have a little bit of a crumbly edge to them after conditioning. But if you've sent it through your pasta machine or rolled it with your roller 25 times, then you'll know that it's conditioned and it's nice and soft and pliant and ready to sculpt. And some clays just naturally are going to be harder than others. Now, is there ever a time when you don't want to condition? And I would say sometimes. If you understand the rules, you can know when to break them. This is Stuart. He was one of the dragons I created in 2015 for my dragon challenge of making a dragon every week. And his wings are rather unconditioned clay. I was making the cane that is covering his body, and there were some edges, kind of like these orange edges that I showed you before, only thinner, on my work surface. And I thought those would make wonderful wings. But obviously, to get this kind of tattered looking edge, I couldn't condition them any further. So I made the artistic decision to use them as is, knowing that these wings are going to be brittle. I know that they're delicate and more delicate than other things I've created. They're kind of brittle. Sometimes, if you understand the rules and know what you're getting into, maybe you don't have to condition. But I would say more often than not, you should. So the next time you're ready to start a clay project, make sure that you take the time to condition it all properly. That way your pieces will be strong and long-lasting. If you're interested in some of the tools I use, there's a link in the upper right and the description box to go to my blog post. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my Patreon page to help support these videos. Happy creating. Bye-bye.